Thales of Miletus. He was born in 624 BCE and lived until 546 BCE. He wanted to know, of what are all things composed of? He observed that most objects in the world were composed of more or less water. Thales searched for and accepted the overall concept of an integral connected universe. We care because Thales didn't possess technologies available to us today. However, he asked a fundamental question and attempted to answer it. Asking questions, observing the world, and using rational methods are basic processes in philosophy.
Anaximander. He was born in 611 BCE and lived until 547 BCE. Anaximander was a student of Thales, and he suggested that all life came from the sea, and that all living things, including humans, evolved from sea creatures. He also suggested that everything came from an elementary substance called air that was something without boundary, limit, or definition. We care because Anaximander's theories may have been part of the basis of our evolution.
Anaximenes. He was born in 585 BCE and lived until 528 BCE. He was a young associate to Anaximander. He considered air to be the basis of all creation. He stated that when air became finer, it became fire. When it was made thicker, air became wind, cloud, air, water, earth, and stone. We care because not only was Anaximenes' theories suggesting a less mysterious, more observational idea of the universal building block substance than that of Anaximander, it also provided an explanation of how one basic substance can become many things.
Pythagoras. He was born in 571 BCE and lived till 496 BCE. Pythagoras developed the theory that numbers rather than elements like air and water were the basic principles of everything. He suggested that numbers determine the shape of all things, and he became one of the first people to recognize the importance of mathematics in understanding the natural world. We care because he transformed existing arithmetic and geometric informations to an orderly logical system. Also, his concepts would later be used by the famous Greek mathematician Euclid. His focus on mathematics is still used to this day.
Heraclitus. He lived from 540 BCE until 480 BCE. He suggested that all things are in a state of change. In his famous illustration of this idea, he pointed out that it is impossible to step into the same river twice. He reasoned that fire was the prime example of change because it is constantly changing shape, needs constant tending, and gives off heat, smoke, and ashes. We care because Heraclitus' theory was everything in existence and connected a unity that exists beyond the temporary nature of our changing world. Everything is changing in today's world.
Parmenides. He was born in 510 BCE and lived till 480 BCE. He believed that everything that exists has always existed. He reasoned that nothing can ever become anything other than what it already is. We care about this because his stance on permanence and change was rather different than other natural philosophers. He introduced the idea of things existing beyond our senses and how they would exist even if we were not here.
Empedocles. He lived from 490 BCE until 430 BCE. He tried to reconcile the problems of change raised by Heraclitus and Parmenides. He claimed that things do change, yet one thing cannot become another. He believed everything is made up of four elements: earth, air, fire, and water, and reasoned that these elements changed in proportion, combining and separating into objects that appear different. His answer to the question why the elements even change at all was love and strife. Love keeps things together, while strife separates them. We care because he introduced the idea of the four elements being the basis for everything in the world, and how everything is an extension of earth, fire, water, and air. This is important because it gives us a connection to the world and an understanding of what the world is made of.